welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about for loops. So for loops, this is kind of really where the magic happens as far as ImageJ macro programming is concerned. When you have a list of 1,000 files or something like this, you really want to be able to process those as automatically. So let's say you have this really sweet analysis protocol, you've spent a long time working on it, you're very confident that it will work for all of your files, but you have to run it on all of the 1,000 files in the folder. You can use a for loop, and then you can go and make a coffee or whatever whilst that runs across your large data set. So I'm going to find my large data set, and where's that? Image processing, macro teaching, practice images. Here you can see this is only 96 items, but that's close enough. It's enough to be working with. I'm going to open up one of these items. So this is, you can see that this is a TIFF file containing 2 different channels. I'm going to make sure that I'm recording my macro. I'm going to, let's just say that I want to do a quick cell count. I'm going to duplicate channel 1. I'm going to do a quick background subtraction. Let's say 20, sure. And then I will threshold the image. This isn't perfect, but it's close enough. Let's just try Huang. Huang is perfect. There we go. Apply that. And then analyze particles. Exclude on edges. Okay, here we go. So this tells us we have 340 cells in this image. Actually, it doesn't tell us we have 340 cells. It tells us we have 340 particles. I'm just going to adjust that last line. So I'll go to Analyze Particles again and set a minimum value on here of, I'll show you how I do this. Generally, I take the Magic Wand tool. I select something that is on the smaller end of what I would consider to be a cell. So like this, I'll measure it. There, I've got an area of 162. If I reduce that by let's just say 50%, because I'm not going to have hit the smallest particle, the smallest cell in here. Close these measurements and then run that again. And I end up with 283 cells, which, eyeballing it, yeah, that seems about right. So did 340, but the accuracy of this macro is not actually important. What's important is that I'm going to encapsulate this in a for loop and run it over every image in a folder. So the way that for loops work is that they are composed, so that they are composed of 3 different components. I'm just going to tidy up this code very quickly, and there we go. So this is I'm just going to insert a couple of comments in here. Close thresholded window. Okay, I've got this lovely macro, which is now going to just count the number of cells in an image. Very straightforward, very simple. I would like to run it over that folder containing 96 images. First thing I'm going to do is find where that folder is. So we'll use get directory and have the user, which is me in this case, point to where the images are. Then flist, you've seen this before as well, equals get file list fpath. So now we've got this big array. flist. So we've got this 96 member array that contains the file list that is located in that directory that I specified. How do I iterate across that directory? We're going to use the for loop. So the for loop works like this. We initialize it with the for keyword, open a bracket, and then we need to choose the name for what's called an iterative variable. This, I'm going to choose file. We could use image, something that is going to point to what the variable represents, right? This is a list of files that we're iterating across, so we're going to choose file. We're going to start this at 0 because we want to start at the first file in the file list, and that is located at index 0. For file equals 0, so that's our initial condition. Then we set our end condition, or like the condition that when it evaluates as being false, the loop will end. So as long as this condition is true, the loop will run. So file less than f list dot length. The reason that we are so here the length of f list is 96, and so we're going to run between file equals 0 and file equals 95. The length of f list is 96, but that means that the last element of f list has an index of 95. And then at the final thing that we need to initialize is the finishing condition of the for loop. Sorry, what happens to the value of file every time the loop completes an iteration. So in this case, we're going to say file plus plus. So that means every time the loop completes, 1 is going to get added to the value of file. I'm going to write this longhand. This is the same thing. So then I have a curly bracket or brace at the start of the for loop, and I put it at the end of the for loop as well. For neatness, I am going to select all of this macro here and just tab it across. And I'm going to give this a comment, file loop. And then at the end bracket, I'm going to give that a comment as well, end of file loop. Close these windows. So currently all that's going to do is try and run this piece of code over no image, because we haven't told it to open any image yet. So I am going to give it the open command, fpath plus flist. Now, for this indexing, we index this with the file iterative variable, right? The value of file is going to change every time this loop runs through. And so it's going to start at 0, then it's going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so every time this code runs through, we're going to open a new file and then run this section of macro code on it. So this is the open command here. I'm going to open up fpath, string concatenation, flist, and then using indexing, we're going to look in the array flist at the position file. Hopefully that makes sense to you. When I hit run, found my practice images, and so now you can see it's running through each of these individual things, and we'll see if it's putting out a huge results window once it's finished. At the very least, you can see how it's opening up sequential files, even if the code itself is not running entirely correctly. Okay, there we go. So do we have a results window? We do. Okay, so that's indexing. Sorry, that's the for loop. This is a construction that I use all the time. You might want to iterate over files in a directory. You might want to iterate over cells in an image. so many things you might want to iterate across. And the for loop allows you to do this. In the next video, we're going to talk about a construction I use a lot less, which is the while loop, but also we're going to talk about the if condition, which I use all the time to check if something is true or false. See you then.